A very warm good morning to one and all. So, how are you all? I hope that you all are fine. Great. So, students, in previous video, we have started history, chapter number 6, that is towns, traders and craftsperson. So, in this video, we will continue with this chapter. Now, before moving further, let's take a quick recap what we have learned in the previous part of this chapter. So, in first part of this chapter, we have discussed about different types of towns. As I told you, towns were very important feature of medieval India. Like for example, temple towns, commercial center, administrative towns and port towns. So first we have learned about temple town, which had huge temple and pilgrimage visited there throughout the year. Then we have discussed about commercial center or commercial towns, were those towns that developed due to the production of fine pieces of artistic as well as useful goods such as textile, crafts, sculpture making, etc. and etc. Then we have learned about administrative towns. Administrative towns, it is also called capital town, were those towns that were the centers of administration under the ruling kingdom. And the last, we have learned port towns. So port towns were those towns that developed due to the ports. So this is what we have learned in the first part of this chapter. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss first a network of small towns. The next topic we will discuss various trading communities emerged during the medieval period, and at last crafts in India. So let's begin. A network of small towns. In the medieval period, a number of small towns emerged in Indian subcontinent. From the 8th century. From the 8th century onwards, the Indian subcontinent was dotted with several small towns, and these probably emerged from large villages. Now, what all small towns had? First, mandapika. Each town had a mandapika or mandi of later times, to which villagers from nearby villages, as shown in the picture, villagers from the nearby villages, they brought their products for selling in the market. So which nearby villagers brought their product to sell in the market. Next, each town also had a market streets called haat. Clear? Each town had also a market street called haat, which were lined with the shops. Each town had a street lined with the shops or market street, and moreover, every town had a number of artisans such as potters, oil pressers and sugar makers, etc. and etc. Then each town also had number of traders living there, while some traders they lived in the town, and other traders they traveled from town to town. So many came from far and near to these towns to buy local articles and sell products of distant places like horses, salt, saffron, betel nut, spices like the pepper, etc. and etc. Clear? So there were also a merchant who moved from one town to another. So each town also had a number of traders living there. Some lived in town and some traveled from town to town. Now usually each town had a fortified palaces also. So usually Samant, or in later times Jamindar, built up fortified palaces in or near these towns. They left taxes on traders, artisans, and articles of trade, and sometimes donated the right to collect these taxes to the local temples, which had been built by themselves or by rich merchants. So is it clear what all small towns had? So each town had a mandapika or mandi, right, to which villagers from nearby villages, they brought their product to sell in the market. Each town also had a market street called hart, and each town had a number of traders also. Clear? Now the next topic is, during the medieval time period, various trading communities also emerged in the Indian subcontinent. Now, first of all, who were the traders? So, traders were an organized group. Traders were an organized group, and they were often organized in association or guilds. Clear? Traders means traders were an organized group, and they were often organized in association or guilds. So during medieval period, various trading communities emerged in Indian subcontinent. For example, the first one is the Banjaras. Banjaras and horse traders. So they formed their association with headmen who negotiated on their behalf with warriors who bought horses. So this trading community or association who traded in horse. Now next we have Manigramam and Nanadesi. Now there were several such guilds and association in South India from the 8th century onwards. So the most famous being the Manigramam and Nanadesi. Now they just formed guilds, traded within the peninsula and with Southeast Asia and China. Now next we have Chaitiyas. So there were also communities like the Chaitiyas, Marwadis, Oswal and Gujarati traders, right? And who traded in gold, ivory, spices, and they just sold textile and spices in the parts of Red Sea, Persian Gulf, East Africa, Southeast Asia and China. Clear? They sold textile and spices in these ports, and in exchange they brought gold, ivory from Africa, and spices, tin, Chinese blue pottery and silver from Southeast Asia and China. Clear? Now next we have the towns on the west coast. The towns on the west coast were the home of Arab, Persian, Chinese, Jewish and Syrian Christian traders. Clear? So they sold their spices and cotton clothes to the Italian traders. These Arab, Persian, Chinese traders, they sold spices and cotton cloth to Italian traders, from where it reached the European market. So these communities or association traded in spices and cotton cloth. Now next we have European traders. So they purchased spices like the pepper, dried ginger, etc. and cotton cloth from India. So European traders who traded in spices and cotton cloth. So is it clear about these are the trading communities emerged during the medieval time period in Indian subcontinent, right? First we have Banjaras and horse traders. So these who traded in horses. Next we have Manigramam and Nanadesi. And third we have Arab, Persian, Chinese, Jewish and Syrian Christian traders who traded in spices and cotton cloth. Next we have European traders. They also traded in spices and cotton cloth. Now, the next one is the crafts in towns. Now, various crafts also famous in the town during the medieval period, right? First of all, the craft persons of Bidar were very famous during that time. Now, where is Bidar located? As shown in this map, Bidar is located in Karnataka, right? Bidar is located in Karnataka. So the craft persons of Bidar were very famous for their inlay work. As shown in this picture, Bidar was very famous for inlay work in copper and silver, which came to be known as Bidri. Clear? Bidar city is famous for inlay work in copper and silver, and which came to be known as Bidri work. Next, we have like Panchalas and Vishwakarma communities. They consisting of goldsmith, bronzesmith, blacksmith, masons and the carpenters. They were very essentials to the building of temples. So these communities, the Panchalas or Vishwakarma community, they played a very important role in the construction of palaces, buildings, tanks and reservoir. Now, similarly, we have Saliyar and Kaikola's community, and they work as a weaver. Saliyar and Kaikola's communities who work as a weaver. Clear? Similarly, so weavers such as Saliyars and Kaikolas emerged as a prosperous communities. They making donation to the temples. Now, some aspects of cloth making like cotton, cleaning, spinning and dyeing became specialized and independent craft during the medieval time period. Is it clear? So that's it for today. This chapter we will continue in next video also. Soon we will meet again in next video. Till then, bye, thank you and have a nice day.